Every dream begins in the mind, but it only comes alive when you dare to move. Thought alone cannot build bridges, create fortunes, or shape destinies. It is the step you take, the move you make, that breathes life into possibility. Action is not an afterthought. It is the true power behind every success story the world has ever known. You can wish, pray, or visualize all you want, but until you rise and act, desire remains a silent whisper in your heart. There is a moment in life where you must decide to move beyond thinking and step into doing. Dreams, no matter how vivid or inspiring, have no weight in the real world until you lift them from imagination and breathe life into them with your actions. Every person who has ever accomplished something extraordinary stood at this very crossroad, the choice between staying comfortable in thought or pushing forward into motion. It is often in the first step where courage is tested. Many wait endlessly for the perfect conditions to begin, thinking that clarity must come before action. But in truth, clarity is born from action. Each move you make reveals the next path, just as a road appears only when you start walking. By doing, you learn what no book or lecture can teach you: the rhythm of progress, the feel of momentum, and the strength hidden within you. The moment you engage with life, you stop being a spectator and become the author of your own story. Fear thrives in stillness. It grows louder the longer you hesitate, but something miraculous happens when you act. The fear begins to dissolve. Action does not remove uncertainty, but it gives you power over it. The step you were afraid to take often turns out to be the one that changes everything. With every move forward, confidence builds. You discover that most obstacles exist only in the mind, and that courage is a muscle strengthened by use. Small, consistent actions compound into greatness over time. Success is rarely the product of one grand gesture. It is the quiet accumulation of daily efforts, the steady pace of doing what others are unwilling to do. Even the smallest move toward your goal creates momentum, and momentum turns ordinary people into unstoppable forces. Each day you delay, life does not stand still. Someone else is moving, someone else is building, someone else is claiming the opportunities you hesitated on. In the end, life belongs to the doers. Power is not reserved for the smartest or the strongest, but for those willing to act despite uncertainty, despite fear, despite imperfection. Action is the bridge between you are and where you want to be. It transforms thought into reality and potential into achievement. When you rise and move, the world responds in ways you cannot predict, but can only experience by daring to begin. Many people hold themselves back, waiting for everything to line up perfectly before they start. They believe that once they have the full plan in their hands, they will finally have the courage to move forward. But the truth is, perfection never arrives. The longer they wait, the further their dreams drift. Life doesn't reward those who hesitate. It rewards those who step into the unknown, trusting that the path will unfold as they move. The first step might feel uncertain, but it is the only way to create momentum toward the life you desire. Clarity is not something that appears in your mind fully formed. It is something you discover along the journey. Each action you take reveals new opportunities and insights that cannot be seen from a distance. When you stand still, the road ahead appears foggy, but when you begin to walk, the fog lifts one step at a time. This is why action is more important than perfect planning. It shows you what works, what doesn't, and what to do next. Movement sharpens vision, while inaction blinds you to possibility. Fear often convinces you to wait for a better moment, but fear loses its grip the second you take decisive action. What once felt impossible becomes manageable simply because you faced it head on. With each step forward, your confidence grows and your mind opens to greater possibilities. The act of moving teaches you that you are capable of more than you realized, and with every small victory, you gain the courage to tackle even bigger challenges ahead. The most powerful transformations in life come from this simple truthing you learn by doing. Books, theories, and advice can prepare you, but they cannot replace the lessons gained through real action. Action turns intentions into results and ideas into tangible outcomes. It is in motion that you discover your strength, build your resilience for the remainder of life, and create a life that reflects the dreams you once only imagined. Fear grows stronger every time you pause and let doubt take control. The longer you stand still, the more your mind imagines obstacles that don't truly exist. What begins as a small hesitation turns into a wall that feels impossible to climb. But the instant you push yourself to act, that wall starts to break apart. Movement doesn't just challenge fear, it weakens its grip on you until you realize it was never as powerful as you believed. When you choose action over endless thinking, you discover that fear loses its shape. What once felt overwhelming becomes manageable because you are no longer stuck in your head. Taking even a small step forward replaces worry with focus. Instead of obsessing over what could go wrong, your energy shifts toward what you can do next. Each decision to act chips away at uncertainty and makes the next move easier to take. There is a kind of power that only shows itself in motion. You cannot think your way into confidence. You must prove it to yourself through experience. Every time you confront what scares you, you train your mental life, you train your mind to trust your own ability to handle challenges. Over time, fear transforms from an obstacle into a signal. It shows you exactly where growth is waiting for you if you are willing to move. The antidote to doubt will never be more waiting, more planning, or more wishing. It is doing. It is stepping forward even when your heart is pounding and your mind is uncertain. Once you start, you realize that fear was only a shadow, and shadows disappear in the light of action. A single push can be the difference between staying stuck in the same place and beginning a journey that transforms your life. Most people underestimate the power of one bold move, thinking they must have everything planned before they dare to start. But in reality, life changes the moment you take even the smallest step forward. That push creates momentum, and momentum changes everything. Once the wheel begins to roll, it carries you further than you thought possible. Momentum is what turns ideas into results. The first effort might feel small, almost insignificant, but it sets a chain reaction in motion. One choice to start learning, one attempt at building a habit, one conversation you were afraid to have. These seemingly simple actions open doors you didn't know existed. Over time, what started as one small decision grows into a force you cannot stop for the remainder of your life, guiding you toward opportunities that never would have appeared had you remained still. This is why the first step is often the hardest, yet the most important. Doubt will try to hold you back. Fear will whisper reasons to wait for a better time. But the truth is, there is no perfect moment. The right moment is the one where you choose to act. Even if you stumble, that stumble moves you further than standing still ever could. Through motion, you gain clarity, and through clarity, you find strength you didn't know you had. Once you begin to move, something shifts inside you. The mind stops overthinking and starts focusing on what's next. Each action builds on the last, creating energy that fuels your progress. You start to feel capable, not because everything is easy, but because you've proven to yourself that you can face difficulty and keep going. This inner shift is what separates those who dream from those who achieve. The willingness to continue pushing, even when it feels uncomfortable. The beauty of momentum is that it multiplies over time. At first you push the wheel, but eventually the wheel begins to pull you forward. Progress becomes faster, and what once felt impossible begins to feel inevitable. Opportunities seem to appear out of nowhere because action attracts energy, people, and resources that would never come to someone standing still. Each day of consistent movement builds toward breakthroughs you cannot yet see. When you look back, you realize that everything changed because of that single push. It wasn't the grand plan or perfect preparation that altered your future. It was the decision to start. Life rewards those who dare to move, even when they don't know what lies ahead. And in that motion, you discover that true power has always belonged to the one who acts, not the one who waits. The world does not hand its rewards to those who sit still and think about what they want. It offers them to those who rise, move, and present themselves where opportunities live. Simply planning to act is not enough. The act itself is what creates the opening. Life responds to motion. A closed door often unlocks only when you knock. For the remainder of your life, and the act of walking toward it shows you possibilities that standing still could never reveal. There are countless people with brilliant ideas, dreams, and visions that never leave their minds. They spend years preparing, waiting for the perfect moment, believing that success will somehow come to them when the time is right. But time passes and nothing changes. Meanwhile, those willing to act, even imperfectly, begin to gain ground. They are noticed because they are visible. They find chances because they are searching for them in the real world, not just imagining them in silence. Momentum builds only for those who are in motion. A person who shows up again and again, even when progress feels slow, eventually arrives at places others never reach. Effort compounds. Each appearance, each step forward, each attempt creates connections and results that stack on top of one another. Over time, what started as small, uncertain movements transforms into steady progress and undeniable presence. The difference between those who dream and those who achieve is rarely talent or luck. It is the courage to keep showing up. When you put yourself in motion, you open yourself to the possibilities that life holds. The path may not be clear at the beginning, but doors you never expected begin to swing open simply because you dared to walk toward them. You may know what to do, but wisdom lives in doing. Knowledge alone is silent. It sits in the mind like a seed that is never planted. You can study, plan, and imagine what success looks like, but until you take action, it remains nothing more than potential. A real understanding only comes when you put yourself in motion and test what you believe to be true against the reality of life. Theories and plans may look perfect in your thoughts, but they change the moment you face real circumstances. The greatest truths are discovered not by those who only observe, but by those who step forward and try. Action exposes you to failure, but it also reveals possibilities you cannot see from a distance. Each step you take becomes a teacher, each mistake becomes a lesson, and each small victory builds the foundation for something larger. It is in the doing that you learn how things actually work, rather than how you imagine they would. This is why so many people remain stuck in the same place for years. They confuse knowing with growing. They believe that gathering more information will eventually prepare them to begin, yet the preparation never feels complete. What they miss is that growth happens when you leave the comfort of thought and enter the discomfort of practice. It is in the attempt, the trial, and the error where real mastery begins to form. Experience turns vague ideas into solid skills. What seemed impossible at first becomes second nature because repetition teaches you what no book or lecture ever could. Through action, you develop instincts, confidence, and the ability to handle challenges as they arise. The knowledge you once carried in your head transforms into wisdom carried in your character. When you finally act on what you know, you bridge the gap between intention and reality. You stop living in the realm of what could be and begin building what will be. This shift is where personal power is born. The moment knowledge is no longer something you think about, but something you live through your choices and actions every day. Great empires are not built overnight, and neither are personal victories. Every significant achievement begins with a single, almost unnoticeable step. Small decisions, repeated day after day, may seem insignificant in the moment, but over time they form the very foundation of greatness. What feels ordinary now, the habits, the routines, the disciplined actions, silently shapes the future in ways that cannot be seen until much later. Most people overlook this truth because they are searching for dramatic breakthroughs. They wait for a perfect moment or a single life and changing opportunity, believing that success happens suddenly. In reality, success hides in the quiet consistency of doing the right things every day. The results may not appear instantly, but with time, those small, steady actions begin to compound into something far greater than what you imagined when you first started. The beauty of this process is that it works regardless of where you begin. Even if your first steps feel small or imperfect, they still carry weight. Every effort adds up. Every day you choose discipline over distraction, you are laying another brick on the path toward your vision. And as you keep building, you eventually look back and realize how far those little steps have carried you. This understanding brings patience and persistence. When you stop demanding immediate results, you free yourself to focus on the process rather than the outcome. Trusting the compound effect of your daily choices gives you the courage to keep going, even when progress feels invisible. In time, those invisible gains become undeniable victories, and what once seemed impossible becomes the life you are living. Time moves forward whether you act or not. Every second you spend hesitating is a second that cannot be reclaimed. And while you wait, the world does not pause for you. Opportunities are constantly shifting, constantly passing from one person to another, and the ones who seize them are not always the most talented or prepared. They are simply the ones willing to act when others stood still. An action quietly steals more dreams than failure ever could. There is a painful truth many people discover too late. Waiting feels safe in the moment, but it is costly in the long run. Each day spent planning, doubting, or hoping for perfect timing is a day lost forever. Meanwhile, someone else, perhaps less skilled or less knowledgeable, is willing to take the risks you avoided. They gain the experience, they learn the lessons, and they collect the rewards you wished for. The prize does not wait, it moves toward the one who reaches for it first. Hesitation also builds a habit of avoidance. The longer you delay action, the more comfortable you become with postponing decisions. This cycle quietly erodes your confidence because deep down you know what you should be doing, yet you remain still. Over time, this creates frustration and regret, a feeling that life is slipping by without progress. Breaking this cycle requires one decisive moment, the choice to act despite not feeling ready. When you commit to action, something powerful shifts. Even if you begin with small steps, the energy you create propels you forward. That single act of courage separates you from the crowd, because most people will never move past the planning stage. Momentum builds with each choice to continue, and soon opportunities start appearing that you never would have seen had you remained frozen in hesitation. Life belongs to those who refuse to wait. For the remainder of your life, the world does not reward the cautious thinker nearly as much as it rewards the bold doer. Every goal, every dream, for the remainder of your life, every desire you have depends on your willingness to claim it before someone else does. The time will pass anyway. The question is whether you will let it pass while standing still or while moving toward the life you know you are capable of living. Each step you take strengthens your belief in yourself. Confidence is not something that appears out of thin air. It is built brick by brick through experience. The first time you move toward something that scares you, the fear may still feel strong, but afterward you realize you survived. That realization alone creates proof. Proof that you can endure, proof that you can figure things out, proof that you are stronger than you thought. This proof becomes the foundation of confidence, and the more you gather it, the more unstoppable you feel. Movement teaches lessons that thought cannot. You may imagine how something will turn out, but reality always brings surprises. By acting, you face challenges directly and learn how to overcome them. Each challenge met adds another layer of self-trust. The next time you are confronted with uncertainty, you do not freeze. You remember what you overcame before, and that memory pushes you forward. Confidence grows not because everything gets easier, but because you know you can handle what comes. Waiting for confidence before you act is a trap many fall into. They believe they must feel completely ready before taking the first step, not realizing that readiness only arrives through doing. The act of beginning, even with shaky hands and a doubtful mind, is what transforms fear into faith. Every small victory, finishing what you started, showing up when you didn't feel like it, trying again after a failure, reinforces the belief that you are capable of more than you once believed. Consistency deepens this transformation. The more often you act, the stronger your self and belief becomes. A single step proves you can move. Repeated steps prove you can keep moving. Over time, this repeated action builds not only confidence, but also resilience. You stop needing constant reassurance from others because you have seen what you can do for yourself. And true confidence is earned through proof, and proof only comes from movement. It cannot be faked or borrowed. It must be lived. Every action you take toward your goals writes a new story about who you are and what you are capable of becoming. And as those stories pile up, doubt loses its hold, leaving you with a quiet but unshakable belief that you can face whatever lies ahead. When you take consistent action, something powerful begins to happen. The world around you starts to respond. People take notice. Opportunities that were once hidden begin to reveal themselves. Resources you didn't know existed start showing up, and circumstances begin to align with your efforts. This isn't magic or luck. It's the natural result of showing up again and again. Action creates visibility, and visibility attracts momentum. The moment you start moving forward with conviction, life moves with you. Many people wait for the right tools, the right people, or the right moment to appear before they act. But they have it backward. The tools and support you need are often triggered by the act of beginning. The path becomes clearer as you walk it. The right people come into your life when you make it clear through your actions that you're serious about your mission. The resources show up when you show you're ready to use them. Life rewards the person in motion, not the one who waits. There is a force that surrounds the door, a quiet energy that says, this person is committed. It draws opportunities like a magnet. People trust action. They believe in the one who is already moving, who has taken risks, who has results to show, even if they're small. That's who gets the offer, the connection, the support. Meanwhile, the one who stays silent, planning endlessly, is overlooked not because they lack value, but because the world hasn't seen their value in action. By acting consistently, you become a source of energy. You inspire others. You become the kind of person others want to support, collaborate with, and follow. There's a deep respect for the individual who moves forward regardless of the obstacles, who doesn't wait for conditions to be perfect but creates progress with what they have. This is the essence of influence, not by talking about what you'll do, but by proving who you are through what you do. And once the world begins to respond, your confidence and momentum grow even stronger. You see that action truly does have power. The power to shift your environment, to attract the right people, and to bend circumstances in your favor. You understand that you are not just reacting to life anymore, you are actively shaping it, all because you chose to move and to keep moving even when no one was watching. Mistakes made in motion teach you faster than flawless plans that stay in your mind. When you are willing to step forward and take action, even if it is imperfect, you open yourself to lessons that cannot be found in theory. A perfect plan that never leaves your thoughts is powerless because it never faces the test of reality. Action exposes you to the real challenges, the real feedback, and the real growth that comes only through experience. Every mistake carries a lesson that makes you wiser and better prepared for the next step. There is a natural fear of failure that keeps many people frozen in place. They believe that avoiding mistakes will protect them, yet in doing so they deny themselves the very experiences that could teach them what they need to know. Mistakes are not proof of weakness, they are evidence of movement. Each failure provides clarity about what doesn't work, and with that clarity comes a better understanding of what will work next time. Growth always demands a price, and that price is usually paid in trial and error. When you act despite the risk of being wrong, you build resilience. You train yourself to handle setbacks without being crushed by them. Instead of seeing mistakes as the end of the road, you begin to see them as signals guiding you toward improvement. This shift in perspective transforms failure from something to fear into something to value. Every misstep becomes a stepping stone, carrying you closer to the outcome you desire. Relentless movement combines persistence and discipline into unstoppable force. It means never allowing setbacks to define you and never staying stagnant for long. This kind of movement does not happen in leaps. It happens in steps. Steps taken when tired, steps taken when discouraged, and steps taken when no one is watching. Over time, this relentless forward motion turns ordinary effort into extraordinary results, proving that talent may open the door, but persistence and discipline are what carry you through it. The world does not reward the one who simply thinks the most. It rewards the one who is willing to turn thought into action. Every day, opportunities shift from those who hesitate to those step forward. The quiet dreamers remain on the sidelines, imagining what could be, while the doors are already building, creating, and claiming what others only talk about. The difference is rarely intelligence or even resources. It is simply the courage to move when everyone else is waiting. Thinking is important, but thought alone does not change lives. A brilliant plan that remains untested is powerless compared to a simple plan that is executed. History remembers the individuals who acted, not the ones who endlessly debated what might happen. The ones who dare to try, even imperfectly, are the ones who shape the world around them, because action has a weight that thought will never carry. Every single day, someone takes a risk and steps into the unknown, and that choice shifts the balance of power. Businesses are built, careers are advanced, and lives are transformed by people who were willing to start before they felt ready. They are not necessarily the best prepared or the most talented, but they refuse to let fear or doubt keep them still. Their willingness to act becomes the force that sets them apart from the rest. It is easy to remain a dreamer. It is comfortable to imagine success without facing the struggle required to achieve it. But while you wait, someone else is seizing the chance you hesitated on. They are learning, adapting, and growing while you are still thinking. And soon, what you only hoped for has become their reality, not because they were more capable, but because they acted when you didn't. The truth is that life changes hands every moment, and the rewards belong to those who do what others only dream of. The step you avoid today could be the one that leads someone else to the life you want for yourself. This is why action is real power. It is the bridge between desire and achievement, the difference between wishing and living, and the force that determines who leads and who follows.